So, welcome everybody.
Not anymore.
Welcome back from the trip. It's been a few weeks, right? You've been back.
Was it fun?
Your color's on almost.
Yeah, there wasn't much to begin with.
Oh, well, it's always good to get some verifiable stuff every day. You know it's going to be there. As compared to the
I
other
brought
day.
some other souvenirs.
Oh,
They're in
good.
the car.
Okay.
I didn't want to like bring them here. That'd be weird.
I'm glad.
So we're going to do some. Got some agenda items here. I want to start off by just giving a big thank you to Betty and the work that she did on the grant. Unfortunately, we were unable to get it completely done and submitted. That falls on me and my skills as a leader. I think we should have pushed more on the sectors a little quicker. So lessons learned is that you know, if I'm still here in a year's time, I definitely know what to do, and I definitely know what goes on and how to push you guys a little bit more to get those things done. I think what we did in a week's time was just marvelous. It was just great. We do, as Betty mentioned to me, and I took it upon myself. I really felt, personally, on me, I hate not doing something complete, and it really bothers me a lot. But I'm thanking Betty for the words that she gave. And she said, the one thing that comes out of it is that Betty told me that, you know, because of what we did, even in the short term, there's, you know, we have some sector sponsors, and there's more people who know about Hay today than they did 3 months ago. I'm personally going to call all 12 sector sponsors and let them know, hey, thank you for your support and our next steps are going to be, and keep them involved in what we do going forward. I think that's equally important. We just don't want the signature, but we want those partnerships to flourish and move on.
You know what else we gained? Is all the information that we have.
Exactly.
together.
So
the
again,
next grant we write, we have all that already.
yeah. So again, that's you know, the positive, and there were some great positives. So again, thanks to everybody who were able to get a sector sponsor signatures. I can't say enough of it. So with that said, we'll do the agenda items. I spoke with Kim Thayer. Is that right? Thayer?
Yeah.
So Kim has been graciously accepted the treasury position about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And despite some shortcomings in the skills area for being a treasurer, it's not a specific skill set that you have to have a specific skill set. But anyway, the other issues came along, and then we just felt that, as she did, that maybe she should step down. So I accepted her resignation as treasurer.
But I am still going to be on the board.
Yes, she will remain very much on the board.
That's the big important thing.
Yeah, that is great. And then with that, I spoke with Anastasia, who has accepted the position of treasurer, but we'll take a vote to make it official. Again, we will be in guidance with you. Me and Eric will be guiding you toward that, and any training opportunities that come up in the nonprofit treasury world, we'll make sure we get to that information so you can be properly trained in it. Something we didn't afford Kim, so that's our fault.
Yeah, and I'm more than willing to, you know, go to the bank and get everything transferred over and all that good stuff. So it's not too difficult.
So as fragile as we may look, I think we still have some good, strong skill sets going forward. Good group. We're limited with what we have, but we still got what we have. Is very good to have. So we'll figure it out and we'll move forward.
Would someone make a motion for the transfer of the treasurer position?
Sure, I'll motion because I can.
Yeah.
We need a second.
I second that.
Okay.
All those in favor to accepting, I guess, Anastasia as treasurer, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I have a vote. Okay, so moved.
That was my
Welcome
husband.
to treasurer Anastasia.
Do you feel different?
I don't know. Like I said, only one nay, and that was my husband. My husband's like, I'm like, meh.
So again, I think it's nice that we got something signed up for Ted and having him give us this space. So we got the treasurer out. We are in the process of, I just mailed off some things to the Secretary of State to keep us in compliance.
Could I clarify that?
Yes.
I think we're on the same page. I think what you did is you sent in stuff to the Oregon Department of Justice Charitable Activities
Mhm.
section for CT-12s, which is different from the Secretary of State.
Oh, okay.
And if you want, I could maybe
Yes.
explain the Secretary of State
Continue.
filing, and maybe a solution. We're not a wealthy coalition at the moment. I think we're wealthy with people, but money in the bank, we're a little short. annually, or I think, maybe, excuse me, biannually, what we need to do is let the state of Oregon know that we are a corporation. It's a $50 fee, and that's what's coming. In the agenda, and I think in the last agenda or two, I've put in a spreadsheet that has got our bills coming due. I thought that the treasurer would be the person that would be the best, most responsible person to build a budget, but as opposed to me
Here's the issue with that, is we can't build a budget if we have nothing to budget, or if we have no money to budget for.
And there's something else in the agenda a little bit later on that I think that we can do. Actually, we can fluff in numbers, and actually that's how you start a nonprofit, is you just come up with a pie in the sky number. But I think we could probably reasonably say we could raise $5,000 from friends, family, and we just take that number and we build a budget around it. If we don't meet it, well, we just don't spend any money until it comes in, but budget's just a plan.
Mhm.
But pivoting back to the Secretary of State, we've got to come up with $50. This is kind of just a general every 2-year fee. My last check is we had $14.45 in the Hay bank account.
And that still stands as of this morning.
Awesome. The $50 fee, I'm thinking we have a $200 or $250 line item for just office supplies in the Hay budget, and that's from the county. And I think that that's something we could ask to use that money. And Betty, I'd like your input. If since that's not a late fee, it's just kind of a general administrative task. Is there any pushback for us maybe just pulling, $100 out for, general? I could submit a few receipts for general office supplies, but I think that's an appropriate use of the grant money.
It would be fine, and I need to have some sort of written request on that. It doesn't have to be a big deal, just an email, so I can have a paper trail on it.
What I want to do is tactfully circle back to the CT12s and the Charitable Activities Division. We've incurred some fines because we have not submitted the CT12 forms in a fashion that they wanted. This is not a blame game, it's not who did what. Moving forward, we've got about $120 in fines. And what I'd like to do is have the coalition members raise the money for that versus having the taxpayers pay for that directly. I've made personal contributions. That's why we have $14.45, because I wanted to test our PayPal link, and I had a gift card come in, and I'll just pay this forward. And so it gives us play money for stamps and some emergency supplies. But that's my strong hint about the envelope that I printed out, is I want the coalition to be thinking about fundraising. So what I will do is work with Betty's direction. Probably by end of the business day, I'll have a request for a small amount of, or maybe just that line item budget amount that we can transfer. But I asked that the coalition to come together and start thinking about a fundraising opportunity. And at our last meeting where I had gift cards, those I got just by asking people. And this is part of what we need to do with the coalition, is reach out to the community. So Jaime, does that give you clarity that we've got 2 tasks? Jaime, I think, is taking care of the CT12s, the filings, and the fines.
Yeah, I was.
We are going to have youth contact push this through, because I think it's due in 9 days.
Does the Hops have a foundation?
Huh?
Do they give money, the Hops?
So I did put in a letter, and Ariel was going to pass it on to their board.
Okay.
It's for $250.
Given their name, they should be giving money to drug and
Exactly.
alcohol.
Yeah. So I did attend their fundraiser a couple weeks ago. I did speak with Mike McMurray. We had a nice conversation. And he's we're going to do some more talks. But I let him know that who I was and who I represented, and he thought it was a great idea. Because with any sports activities, you got to give children options. And if there's no options, in the playing field, then they turn to drug abuse or other things that aren't of a positive nature. So again, and I got to get back with Ariel, because they will have a drug-free night. They're working on a nonprofit night too. They will either be in late July or early August.
Okay.
They've got their tentative schedule in game nights, and they want to fit us in somewhere somehow.
Would it be possible to have fundraising associated with that?
That's our next conversation. Would
Okay.
be that. Yeah.
Because if they have a stadium full of people and we're sort of being presented, maybe you get asked.
Yeah. So the meeting that's scheduled here in early April is to myself and other community nonprofits, and see what, brainstorm we can do to have that, fundraiser. You know, they did say that if they offer it to us, they gotta offer it to everybody else who's been coming to them too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'm first in line, but I think being a founding season ticket holder, I'm up above everybody else, so that helps us as a coalition, okay? So yes, Eric, continuing with the agenda. Yeah, I think that sounds fine. I don't think that should be a problem. Raising a couple $100 just to get this thing out of the way, and it should be a goal for us to see if we can reach up to $5,000.
You know how they have fundraising events at sporting events where they have people bring canned goods or whatever for maybe they could know that leave little cash for hay or something, or however
Yeah.
it could be done at the gate.
Yeah, and so I've got some things at home, and we can just do some raffles, small raffles. I got gods of stuff at home that I'm not going to use. Tickets to PSU, tickets to Blazer games. I'm a season ticket holder. With the Hops 38 games, doesn't seem like a lot, but it's tough to make every game.
Yeah.
And I probably give away about a third of them. And the people I give them to are my church, my Knights of Columbus. They use them as raffles. They pick up $100, so it helps. Okay, these are my season tickets are worth about $64. So you can sell raffle tickets for a couple of bucks, $5.
Oh, yeah.
It builds up.
Mhm.
How many people are on the hay board?
That's a good question. What I can tell you is I've got a list of about 10 people that are active in the coalition. This is part of why I asked Emily to bring the board book. Betty, about 2 months ago, prompted me to, thanks, I'm gonna trade you a slice of pizza for that.
For you.
Um,
Oh, my God.
one-
Shoulder injury.
I want to give you a direct answer, but here's where I can't.
This is my lunchtime.
Yeah, take advantage.
I ran here from class. I was like, I will make it on time.
Your teachers know that you're here, right?
Yeah.
We'll cover for you.
Yeah, I already got excused from third period, so.
I hate to pick on anybody in particular in the room, but I'm going to pick on Maureen, who I think has been the vice president since 2009.
Oh, it's been a long time.
And
Yay,
so
barely on to the.
I was left with this question, there might have been term limits. And then I didn't have a clean copy of the bylaws that I had in my custody. Betty sent an email copy, and then we have people that I've never met that are apparently still in the Hay sphere, like these attorneys who have been on an email list. And when I came on board, I shook the tree and I called up people, and I would get no answer. Or people would call me up 6 months later. It's like, yeah, I moved. I'm in Washington State now. So this has been, one of these tasks that kind of got pushed to the back burner. Betty made sure that I understood that compliance was an issue that was going to come due with the DFC grant. So I haven't forgotten that, and just because we're not pursuing the DFC grant this year doesn't mean that I'm not working on compliance. If anything, Jaime knows I've been on his case for a couple issues, and I've been putting my boo-boos out in the wind for everybody to see too. Moving forward, I'd say we really have the people in the room and a few other folks that come and go. And I'd say we really have a core crew of about 10. And there's been a wonderful addition, and that is a lady named Rebecca, who is over at Liberty. And she is the analog of David Schultes, youth contact employee. So she hasn't been able to make a meeting. However, this is where I've kind of been in this kind of communication that doesn't really get spread out to the board. Long answer, that's the honest answer. But this is where we need to kind of have an annual meeting for Hay and not only figure out who's on the board, but board committee assignments, and what are your expectations for sitting on this board? Does that mean you show up and you approve what the coordinator does? Or do you do things like, let me close my comments with picking on Emily for a second. I did that just so I catch you eating. Please continue eating. I kind of pushed an assignment her way because I thought that social media, specifically Twitter, I heard you chatting about Twitter. And if I was listening, I heard excitement. You like it. So I figured you'd be a good victim to ditch the Twitter task on. And, Anastasia, you're a natural in the field, talking to people. Ditto for you, Kim. And this is where I earlier today, I had a pretty direct conversation with Jaime, and I said, your job as president is to find the highest and best use of the values of the people on the board. And I don't want to be a coordinator where assignments are just handed out willy-nilly like a deck of cards. I want the people to come to an agreement together. Like, Maureen's got amazing people handling skills, and especially from where she works.
Lots of hand sanitizer.
And Betty's got a problem husband too. And now I've picked on everybody. So, but it's kind of the conversation needs to move forward with Jaime picking the skills out with a good conversation with each board member, so that this person can have jobs to do that are fun, they can grow in their position, and they're not stuck in something that's miserable. It's more of a leadership function, and there are just people I think that are just waiting to be asked to join, and that's the board recruitment function. I think it's part of the president's report, and that's not just your job, Jaime. I think it's my job. It's every board volunteer's job, and I'll leave that there.
Yeah, and that's you correct, Eric. I think that's one thing that should always be on our radar is board recruitment. We should be at about 12 to 15 showing up here on a monthly basis. You know, that would be a good number to assign task, and it doesn't burden myself or somebody else to do everything, especially Eric to do everything. He's got limited time with us, and he should be burdened with a lot of things either. But again, we should be reaching that goal of about 12 to 15. That can actually physically be here, and if we want to go as high as 20 something, we can do that. But again, I think being on the board is more than just showing up here to the meeting, but actually trying to contribute anywhere from 2 to 3 hours over the course of a month, which I don't think is a lot to ask. On me, on a regular week, I do 10 to 15 hours of volunteer stuff with various organizations. So to ask for 2 or 3 specifically from this board per month, and anybody else who wants to join us, I think it's reasonable expectations, and we're not talking about a lot of things. It could be just a simple conversation, or just send an email out.
I'd like to assign an action item for you personally.
Well, look at you, finally gonna pick on me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, it is a good one. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. I'm shocked. We just invited a whole bunch of people to join the coalition as partners for the DFC grant. They assigned something, and I don't know who these people are. And as best as I can tell, they haven't been invited to this meeting.
Mhm.
And so to prevent that left turn from moving forward, I ask of you to get me the list of these people so I can add them to our outbound outreach. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm working through the agenda, I'm adding action items and part of the minutes. So ladies, as you transfer the treasurer position, you're gonna need a printed copy of the minutes, and I'll have that for you by end of business day.
Eric, I might need to borrow you as well for things like the bank or whatever, because you are on there as the coordinator, so.
Uh-huh.
And I think Maureen's still on there as.
I'm still on there?
President. Oh, yeah, your name still shows up on the emails too.
Yeah.
So we'll have to coordinate something, because I can't just put my signature and transfer it over. We have to have multiple signatures.
Oh,
The
it's-
bank is with the department, with
Yes,
Secretary of
as it should
State,
be,
with all that good
right,
stuff.
yeah.
Right, and then they like to just move the goalpost as we do that, because they want to make sure that we're who we say we are. Because it's funny, because if Kim pays me, it comes from you by name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Money laundering.
and the PayPal account, I have to essentially close it down and reopen a new whole PayPal account,
Mm.
because they won't let it be in more than one person's name. It's PayPal. So, I already looked into it, I already called them, he was on the phone forever, so.
Only ever?
Oh, yeah.
Not for infinity? I'm impressed.
Forever, I counted.
So Jaime, do you want to circle back and make sure we're closing out on the Secretary of State filings and the CT-12s? Is there any more stuff we need to check
I need to
out?
read this over. It was just handed it to me, and
I think that's
Actually,
just
fine.
basically a more formal correspondence saying, get it done.
okay.
So,
How often do you check the mailbox?
I check the
P.O. box,
mailbox
you
at
did-
least once a week.
least once a week, okay.
This week I've checked it twice. I was there on Monday and then I was there, and these things came in between Monday and today, so.
When does that due again?
Huh? Oh, we just
The
paid it.
mailbox?
We just paid it like less than 2 months ago,
Oh, okay.
so, but
there
that's
is-
my tasks.
To help with making sure those tasks don't fall on the wayside, there's a forecast, so the anticipated bills that I'm aware of in the coalition are listed in the budget spreadsheet, so that we have a forecast of what's due next. So that shouldn't be a mystery, and I think that one comes due November.
Which one?
The post office box?
We just paid it. I mean, like, it was either November or December. It couldn't have been more than that ago, really. And it was like for $141. Hmm?
I said they've gone up.
I have all the files in my car, if you really want them.
Speaking of stuff in the car, I have a trunk full of hay literature. I've got a complete
Oh, dear.
box of Navigating the Teen Years for Maureen. And I have some hosting teen parties in Spanish. And I'm wondering if there might be volunteer. Anyway, I really want to get this print out of my house and into the hands who are going to give it in the community. Emily? I'm not. I love the look you just gave me. You baited me here with pizza. Now you want me to hand? Oh.
There's piece number 2, so.
Okay. I'll give you piece number 30 if you take some print out of the trunk of my car.
How many total boxes of crisps are there?
We have each box weighs about 20 or 30 pounds, and I think I have 14 or 15
Really, that
boxes of
many?
print.
Mm-hmm.
And I have gotten rid of a lot of it.
But how much of it's still outdated?
Most of the outdated stuff I have tossed. I'm gonna lean on Betty's. I've given Betty some stuff to tell me if this is valid, if it's still worth something. Because I don't want to throw it away if it can be spread in the community. There's some stuff that's marginal. It's like stuff with the Hillsborough Park and Recs District's address stamped on the back, and we can just get stickers. I've actually done that for some stuff where we needed in a pinch some specific stuff. Just stickered it with, I have inventory stickers. I got what's called 80 up stickers.
Oh, yeah.
80 per sheet, and I just printed out the Hey P.O. box with our logo. And I use that to put on like the laptops we got from Free Geek as an inventory control. And I just put that over the old address and then handed it out, and it's good.
With those laptops, actually, have you installed QuickBooks on any of those?
I have not. The QuickBooks or whatever software accounting program we have, I think is either downloadable or cloud-based. We need to put on a Windows program for that laptop, but it's not necessary that it goes on that laptop. Whoever,
Okay.
if somebody, our new treasurer, Anastasia.
That's what I was getting to, is Anastasia could probably use that. It's like a QuickBooks system that we essentially got for super cheap, you know, about 1.5 years ago. It has not been used, but it needs to be used. So, but that will help.
You got me. I don't have a date on my spreadsheet on when we paid USPS last.
I told you, it wasn't any more than like 3 months ago at most.
Okay.
And I'll go through the bank stuff if you really want me to. In fact, Jaime probably has that, you know, I
don't
gave
have it.
you. So,
So can I ask you a quick question, Jaime?
Sure.
On the recruitment, did you talk to
Yeah, you gave me some names.
Manuel or Jinwei?
I did not talk to Manuel. I sent somebody else an email, and this is a guy from Life Questions. Steve or George?
I don't know who that is, but for the Baile Folklorico?
Yeah, no, yeah, I have not given him a call yet.
Okay, all right, because I see him tonight and I've been bugging him.
Where are you seeing him at tonight?
Baile.
Oh, okay.
It's Monday and Wednesdays, but Jinwei joined the Kofi committee and took over a bunch of their IT stuff because he is an IT engineer and loves to dabble in that kind of stuff. So I'm just thinking he'd be a good person. And he's really interested in hay, and he's really interested in what we do, and he's really, really busy, like 4 days a week, but he wants to figure out how to help us out and how to be on board, so.
You know, I just, from hearing people talk and outside conversations, could you and Jaime get together for this reason? We are spending about $150 a year on the Hay website, and we don't have very much traffic. you had a web guy, and I'd love to see two internet freaky tech people get together and host our Hey website on Google Sites, which we could do for free, and then that would eliminate $150 a year that I think we're overspending. So, is that something you guys would be willing to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some water, honey?
Do you need to be pounded?
Yeah.
He warned me he had a cough,
Yeah.
and he's limp. Do you have a foot boot and your hand was swollen? You've been in the emergency room. Did you catch something from me?
No, I did not catch anything from you.
Okay.
Right.
It sounds like
As you get older, you just, little bumps and bruises become bigger.
Things happen.
Yeah, things happen.
Old.
But it's okay.
There's no such thing as old, it's vintage, because vintage is worth more than old, okay?
As I get
Yes.
further away from being younger.
There you go.
I'll never be old.
Yeah, so we'll hook up here and we'll talk some more. I had something in my thought, and again, yeah, so I need to make this letter out and kind of drop the ball. Didn't drop the ball, but other things came into play. But I do need to follow up with sector sponsors. One of the things that, at least on the ones that I talked to, they wanted to partner up on events and stuff, and we have a lot of material, it seems like, so that we can start partnering up with them, whether it's Laura Media, the Boys Club, the church group that Katie Riley brought up. A lot of these sectors hold their own sponsors, so we should be able to pony up with them and get their events. I did have a Centro Cultural called me to make a presentation to their board. Unfortunately, they gave me a 24-hour notice and I wasn't able to meet with them. I will meet with them again in April. They scheduled me for their agenda just to get on board. There's also an event in April, 2 events. One, I won't be here, I'll be in DC, but it's the Children's Day Festival in Cornelius, which is a good event. I don't believe they charge nonprofits. If they do, it's very minimal, 10 or 15 bucks. The other one is the Latino Festival, downtown Hillsborough. I believe it's on a Sunday, and I'm not sure if it's the 19th or the 26th. So that might be, excuse me, that might be another event that we can get into. And again, that one's a little bit more expensive because it has about I should say, well over 5,000 attendees, and it'd be good to really make a major impact on what the community wants to know about. Hey, and my apologies.
No, I've been there.
And I'll be at the Latino Festival. If you're ready to man a booth, I have to be there because my daughter's dancing it, so
Excellent.
I will be there from start to finish.
Now, I hate to go off topic, but you're on TV.
A little more than I want to be, but I will be much more late in the coming weeks. Because I've been invited to go to Capitol Hill
Really?
and shed my opinion. So,
About what?
immigration reform.
Ah.
Yeah, and so I've been on TV quite a bit. Last time I was on TV, I wasn't supposed to be. I was just supposed to be there behind the curtains. And I walked in the door and they said, "We need somebody who speaks English to talk to Channel 6 News now." And I'm like,
Okay.
like I didn't comb my hair. I didn't put on makeup. I'm like, I'm really not here. They're like, "Come on, you can do it." Okay, fine.
Oh, good for you. Stepping up. Something needs to change.
Did anybody see me in the last 3 seconds of Portlandia, season
No.
5, second to last episode?
Now I'm gonna go back
I want
and
to
watch
see
it.
that.
Yep.
I don't know what night it's
Wait,
on.
season 5, what episode?
Second to last. It's the one called
I'm watching
You-
it.
You Can Call Me Al. It was shot in a dive karaoke bar in Sandy Boulevard. The last 5 seconds of the episode is Jeff Goldblum looking at Carrie and what's his name going, "My students, what a good job," and I'm behind him, behind Jeff Goldblum applauding. And I pop up somewhere else in the episode too, but
Did you get union scale?
I got minimum wage, but I got paid. And so it's, yeah, I ducked out of my campaign and did that because I thought it'd be fun and I needed a break. But so you're not the only person on TV.
I would like not to be on
There's a
TV.
picture of me on OregonLive.com from the Shamrock Run on Sunday.
There we go.
Excellent. This
Not a
is,
good picture though. I was like running and it's covered in rain, and I was like, well, I'm good.
Jaime was in the
That was a
newspaper. I
wedding.
was going to bring you were you had a full page, not a full page spread, but you had your PCC article recently.
Yeah, that was Was it last fall or last spring?
And I was looking through the Hay archives, because one of the things I do behind the scenes is I have piles of print, and I have these boxes of old information. And Michelle Rodriguez had a really nice write-up in the newspaper years ago. And so there's a lot of history with Hay that I'm still discovering. And so this coalition's done a lot of great work over the years, but.
It has.
Can I bring up something?
Yes.
In terms of, it seems like it applies to both your fundraising, which is grants or other kinds of fundraising, and also your board recruitment. It would be really helpful to have a very concise, good-looking pieces of talking points for all the board members, so when they're recruiting or asking for dollars, there's a clear, what is Hay about? And some really, what's the value added for being a part of this? Why are we asking you to join? Why are we asking you to give us money? And that might exist already in some of the historical materials, I don't remember, but it would be good to have that just be a piece everybody can have with them, because not everybody's immersed on a daily basis, and when they're talking to somebody, can't just
I've run into
spit
that
out.
too.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm talking to random people and they ask me, what do you do? And I say, hey, I volunteer for Hay, and
What's
kind of
Hay?
go into the spiel, but there's really no set talking points of exactly what we're doing. There's no real
That
outline.
brings the question is exactly what are we doing? I mean,
Yeah, to be
because
interesting.
we're busy talking, and we're talking about a lot of stuff, but what are we doing?
And that's
As a
what I
coalition.
have to, kind
That's a
of
good thing.
skirt around, as you will. But I think that we should probably get some clear goals for not just fundraising, but for messaging, media outlets, things like that. We need to actually have a straightforward message, as well as clear goals of what are we going to accomplish, rather than just sitting here and talking. What grants are we going to be going after, what fundraisers are we
They're
going
kind
to
of
be
tied
doing.
together, because I think it's easier to ask for money if you have specific things that are coming out.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So why don't we come up with, some goals, or at least
Well,
There was some work done on
objectives.
that for the grant, and
Mhm.
it didn't go further than that, but it would be good maybe for the board to look at that
Mhm.
and say, here's what we're long-term after, here's the short-term, and then this year, our action plan is this. You combine that with your mission statement, your values, information about your board structure, how it works, all of that, and then you have some meat to give to a funder or to give to somebody you're going to ask for money for or ask for their participation.
Is there, I know like Fox 12 News and Simon Gutierrez and Andy Carson and all of them, they do like a community highlight thing where if we were doing something out in the community, maybe to let them know, hey, this date we're going to be doing this, and we would love if you would be able to, kind of let the community know that we're here and this is what we do, and so that more people in the community know. And also the Latino News, I don't know which one it is, but I have it out in my car.
Oh, Hispanic News, the newspaper.
I think so.
Okay.
I picked up one the other day, and they had different clubs, coalitions, and businesses that said, our second anniversary, just want to share with the community that we've been in business 2 years or whatever, saying, oh, okay, you can read that and say, oh, well, there's something like that out there that's interesting, and maybe I'm interested in it, or maybe I know somebody who's interested, and trying to get it to grow that way too.
Getting media attention or any attention is sometimes a good thing, sometimes not. But if that attention happens and then somebody calls up any one of us and says, okay, what else? That's where we still need to go back to,
Right.
we need this package to market with, to say who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it. And before you attract that kind of attention, I think, because I bet every one of us could say something different.
Yeah.
And maybe none of us would be
More
right,
concise.
some of us
Right.
might be.
So, yeah, because, my message is I'm trying to stay consistent, just saying, we're substance abuse prevention coalition, just trying to make the community aware, primarily in high schools and middle schools, And I've sent out, various phone calls and emails inviting us, asking for us to be on the agenda so we can do presentations some more. And when we started to do that in the fall, I think we got a couple of them done. We were supposed to come back in the spring.
Presentations about hay and what we do, or presentations aimed at prevention?
Aimed at prevention. And I'm trying not to say what hay does, but to me, in a nutshell, is provide materials to classrooms if they want them. We have them. Make presentations. Make the community aware that we are a coalition of focused on the message of substance abuse prevention, and that's why I try to be consistent in that area.
Folks, if I could just jump in and drive for a second. In the agenda, there's 2 links, and one is to our work plan, and one is to our action plan. And so I'm kind of concerned because what I'm hearing around the room is we don't have buy-in as to what we're supposed to be doing. We have clear stated written goals. And
Already.
Already, and so I don't want to facilitate a meeting or participate in a meeting where we've got written plans and we're saying, what are we doing?
I have trouble getting those links to work.
Okay, then.
If it would be possible to send those out as just like a Word document or something.
Attachments?
I would appreciate that, because I
Okay.
can never get those to work.
My apologies, and I've been hearing grumblings about that, and that's my job to get that corrected, and I'm gonna make your world happy.
Thank you.
Word docs. What I'd also like to do is circle back to something that, for fundraising and getting stuff done, our Google grant has something called One Today. It's the equivalent of Kickstarter. It's got no percentage fee, so all the money that's raised we keep, which I'm really excited about. But the discussion in the last 6-7 minutes had this element to it. It's what are we doing? How do we communicate that? And if we could put a number, say for example, it costs $100 to facilitate a prevention club at a high school per month. That's just a number I pulled out of thin air. That is what you need to put an ask in front of a donor. So they need, they can't just be handing them envelope and say, give us money because. They need us to fill in the rest of the sentence. So I would ask that everybody in the coalition have a look at the work plan and the action plan today. And just even if they open it up. One of that is just our big overarching plan, and one of them is what we need to do for our emergency funding that Betty and the county hooked us up with, because we didn't, actually I think I'm gonna take the heat for this one. I did a really poor job in time management and threw in a last minute grant that the county said no to. The county wanted to fund us, and so they said, come back, we'll give you a little less, and that's the money that we're coasting on right now. We need to do specific things such as a bus bench project, among other things, and those are outlined. So we have a pretty enormous to-do list, and I've got to circle our conversation back to our written to-do lists, and if we need to change what's there, great. But I think we need to have a look at that today versus brainstorming what to do next.
Maybe a standing item on your agenda too is update on the work plan progress, lack of whatever, help needed.
Right, right, and just one of the things I have been working with Jaime has been kind of an emergency to-do list, and that's been related to compliance, filing forms, treasurer updates. The bus benches is probably the one that's looming on the horizon, and we'll get to that maybe a little bit later on in the meeting. But I want to just kind of bring everybody back to the stuff that's already embedded in the thing that brought us together today, and that's the agenda, and we've got the to-do list there. So, and I guess that's probably another thing I need to do is make sure that those are printed out and available for you. I kind of just made an assumption you guys would click through, and now I'm hearing that I created a problem for Maureen. And I feel bad.
It's hard for me to
Don't
click
feel
through them
bad.
too.
I
My
just can't
computer
get them
doesn't
to
always
open.
open a lot of it.
Well, sometimes like the county in particular, and also like the audio for the last meeting. Some people like WeTransfer as a source to get that. Other people hate when I put an image and I upload it to YouTube. And some people get stuff at different speeds, and it totally messes with their world.
And there's different firewalls for different parts of the, and
Yeah.
stuff, and it can interfere with all that, and so I might not be able to get something that Betty could because of the way it's built, so.
Yeah, and county IT is an interesting animal in and of
Mhm.
itself.
Mhm.
So happy you just got your Word or your office updated.
Mhm.
Just nonetheless, I hope we spent a little too much time on that, but I want to make sure we had some clarity.
Well, the work plan too, you could probably just extract a few keywords out of this, that, and that, and that. And again, it could be a standing item on the, printed on the
Mhm.
agenda and just with check marks by it as
Remind me what it is.
which ones are left to talk about to do.
Yeah. I guess what I get a little confused about is the efforts Hay does to make sure people know we exist as an organization, and then what we're actually doing as an organization for prevention. And it seems like we spend a lot of time with the first one
Mhm.
and not that much time with the second one. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So how could we switch that?
They go together though.
They do, I know, you have to do one and you have to do the
Yeah.
other, but.
And if you don't have
Like-
any money, because nobody knows about you,
Right,
you
have
can't
to-
do.
Right,
Mhm.
we have to have a
So-
marketing plan, and have
And-
people, the brand of the, but.
So, and the other one is that, on the second front is that if, we can ask to be at a, not a board meeting, but at a parent conference or an event, but if they don't give us a time or a date, or hey, we'll have a parents meeting here, we want you guys to do a presentation, we can only ask.
Mhm.
And I don't wanna be one of those that, and for lack of time, I was talking to somebody, hey, you said you're gonna put us in this Evergreen Middle School parent thing night, and well, when's the date and when's it gonna happen, and, can we just show up? So that's the other thing is that, having the time to really follow up on those things, cause I think we did a great presentation at Brown Middle School.
Yep, yes, we
They
did.
said they want us to come back here in spring, so, I gotta make
In
sure
spring.
we're on that, and in
Mhm.
spring, exactly.
Right.
So, that's the other thing is that lack of time really hurts us.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. I think also it kind of has to do with, we need more members, more board members to distribute out the tasks and to delegate.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, this is a personal note that I didn't see it coming, but, so on Mondays, I do back-to-back workshops at 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock, and they're each like an hour long, and I stay after the workshop, and I talk to customers or students. So that takes up almost till past 1. And then sometimes I don't go to lunch because I've missed all the morning.
Mhm.
And Monday morning, I don't know why, but a lot of people email and phone call over the weekend.
Right.
So Monday mornings, it's like, my day actually doesn't start till about 4 o'clock. Because I try to get in some appointment time. But I really miss that, and I try to get to that hot news as soon as it comes out. Because that now hot news comes on Monday, and sometimes she doesn't get out till late Monday afternoon. But it tells you the activities of the week for the school district. So by the time, sometimes it's not Tuesday morning before I open it up, I say, damn, that's tonight, and I've got something scheduled or something like that. So that's the other thing that's hurting me, is that, I should be more on top of it and then alert you guys, but it's tough having a full-time job and doing some stuff that's important for Hay on a limited time, and it's, what's the word I wanna use, it's, time is of the essence, and if you don't get the notice right away, then you're kinda like, crap, So that's something that hurts us, and I would hope that you guys all get that thing, that way it doesn't just fall on me, that you guys, hey, I think there's something here going on, wasn't at a point, or maybe you can make it there, and for me to always be on alert, it's tough.
Well, with a few more people, it could
Exactly.
be,
Yeah, that's what I'm
maybe
saying.
somebody would be really interested and have the time to track, what's going on with the school district. And somebody else might be really into the faith community, and it shouldn't be all on you. It
Yeah.
shouldn't.
It'd be
and-
great if we could recruit someone from the school district again. We
We
had-
kind of have, we have a lady named Rochelle, she's working behind the scenes. In preparation for the free grant, she went through and did a phenomenal job transcribing some of the audio over the past meetings, because we needed audio in a text format that showed action items as an inclusion for the DFC application. And she has a schedule conflict, and just in order to move over that hump, what I'd like to suggest is that we, on a structured basis, maybe quarterly or at least semi-annually, either hold an extra meeting or have our normal meeting held at a different time that would be a little bit more accessible to parents and working professionals.
Where does she work?
South Meadows.
South Meadows.
Could we have a meeting there?
we can. I will shoot her an email and ask.
We also have that principal at Pointer that's really interested.
Oh, yeah, I spoke with her briefly last week sometime. Martha.
Yeah. She's really, really, hey, gung-ho. Like, big time, anytime you talk about it, oh, absolutely, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
It's
awesome.
just kind of coordinating
Then
availability.
they could hopefully maybe take on a little of that, you know, the school stuff.
Yeah, I will send an email out to Jennifer and ask if we can.
You know, I'd
Do
rather
you
hear,
need one?
you know, I'd rather
Yeah,
hear
no.
that you've asked a board member and delegate that out.
Does anybody know Jennifer besides me or you?
Shelton?
I know who she is.
No, I dropped off her certificate last week.
Excellent.
So I'll just follow up and say, hey, you know, did you get the certificate? And by the way, can we have a meeting an evening meeting, right?
For her specifically, but that's part of the ask is that.
Oh, yeah, to have her, well, of course, she's gonna have to get the time and stuff like that.
Well, you know, even if you just have the conversation, it's worth your time, but getting back into the schools is really the value, because one of the hints that I've dropped with Jaime is that after I do the tidy up for this meeting, I have quarterly reports that I have to write for Betty. That's part of my job description. And one of those is a spreadsheet where I have to show what we've been doing. And it's people count. You remember me sending out an email, don't go to sleep on me, Emily.
Oh no, there's something in my eyeball.
Okay, all right, well, we can fix that. I can put something in the other eyeball and you match.
No, okay.
Okay, never mind. I mean, I shouldn't be. These reports are those demographics like male, female. You remember the clipboards I put out at the meetings that ask you to track male, female, age,
Yeah, when we were at the
race?
open houses,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the quarterly reports, and I really have nothing from the beginning of the year to share with Betty in terms of our outreach. We've just, there's been nothing. And, you know, that's fine, because we made a group decision to march forward on the DFC grant, and that work is hardly wasted. We can just use that as a placeholder to pick up next year. Bottom line, we have not been in the community much, or if we have, it hasn't been reported to me, and I want to make sure I set and manage that expectation, that all your people contacts count. And this really helps Betty when she has the conversations with her grant writing at the federal level to bring in money, or whatever. I mean, state of Oregon, there's the county gets funding from a rainbow of sources. So if you have an informal meeting, that'd be a great thing to drop me an email. And I don't know if that really has been an expectation that we've set with board members, at least formally. Moving forward, as we recruit new board members, I think I need to help the executive committee, which is a word we haven't used yet in this this board meeting. Anybody know who's on the executive committee?
Since 2009.
Yep.
Emily, pop quiz.
It's just like I'm ready.
And now,
President,
We have a
VP,
secretary.
treasurer, and executive director. Although you
Is
don't
that
have
what
a vote.
the bylaws
President,
say?
Vice President,
Is there
Treasurer, and
need for a
Secretary.
secretary?
Yeah,
There
we
we
don't
have
have
it.
a secretary.
So you do have a secretary?
We
or
don't.
no?
Oh, well, unless,
Yeah, we do. It's that little machine right there in front of the
Well,
laptop.
I think, I don't know for sure, but the bylaws may say you need
An actual physical secretary.
like a
I think
person.
you do
Person.
have to
that
have
has-
a
Emily!
Just, like, name the thing.
Yeah.
My
Fred.
recorder's named Emily, so are you. And all of a sudden,
Um,
I think there's a little bit of confusion. Congratulations on the nomination. Call for a vote?
Do you know what a secretary does?
No.
Okay, see, that's the first question, is does she know what the duties are?
That's how we got you.
Yeah, I got sucked into that one. Thank
It
you,
used
Katie
to
Riley.
take and disseminate minutes, but now with the recording and all that stuff. That's not really
Secretary
necessary.
basically is the person who takes the minutes, takes the notes from the agenda as well as what happened, and they record it.
Who was here? And
Who was here and all that good stuff. So it's basically Uber note taker.
And there are some templates that could be, make it easier.
I know.
That's,
Okay,
but
see, training
see,
for
I'm so
college.
far out of school that you'd be so
Oh,
much better at it.
right.
I have a question.
Wait a
If the-
minute, you just graduated college just a couple of years ago, might I point out?
Well, that was a playpen, that's not school.
Yes, baby.
So if we
So
don't
is
meet
this-
here at Century, can you meet with us?
What?
Don't we need to meet here for
Well, she
you,
did
in
last
order for
time
you to
we came to
participate?
the-
Yeah, I generally catch up with her.
Yeah, because I live,
Yeah, we
Okay.
did the
So
county
she
last
lives, yeah,
month.
like down the street.
I live in walking distance of this school.
Okay,
Well,
I'm trying to get my own car. Like, I can drive, it's just.
This
I
would be a good
don't
we could have a
have
paid fundraiser for
my
that.
own-
Yeah.
You need
Don't
to
have
have
my
my
own
own vehicle.
I'd like to
Yeah.
pull a sneaky and suggest this. Jaime,
Yes.
get your schmooze on. Jennifer Shelton, we have her as our remote secretary because she's already doing the work.
Yep.
Ooh, there's a good idea.
And I don't see why not.
Well,
Unless the bylaws say
yeah.
they're gonna be physically present.
Okay.
Doing
Well,
audio.
they used to, because that we weren't recording
But
stuff, but I
see,
don't know.
who's to say we can't change the bylaws? Or are they state regulated or
We have
nationally
autonomy
regulated?
over, actually bylaws are regularly changed. And that's actually kind of a point of order that we may have skipped over. Part of the CT-12 filings and the Secretary of State filing, kind of work in tandem. The Secretary of State, we need to file that we change treasurers.
Yes.
And I'll double check and make sure that you're not president there anymore, because I heard some chatter. I thought that that was updated.
I think with either the Secretary of State or the IRS, she's still president. We need to file, we basically need to go through all of our legal
Mhm.
paperwork and transfer all of that information.
I was never actually really the president, I was just acting, sort of like it.
And a fine job you did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
so
just
will you
pretending.
became.
Well, there's a fancy title called President Emeritus,
I
where
know.
you,
Meeting is
where you're always in the basking glow of the presidency, but don't have to deal with any of the crap.
Like it.
yeah, and what I did,
I
and
should
what
be
I,
there.
and what I sent out last night,
I'll call
where
you
your
back.
name was,
Bye.
I just crossed it out and put my name in, and present as of August something.
Here's what we get. We get Maureen's work product. We have felons over at the Snake River Correction Center working for the Secretary of State doing Secretary of State filing updates. It's actually a cake position. If they behave well, they get to work in the call center.
Well, they don't get a stamp license plates, hey.
Uh,
Well, when you call DMV, you're talking to people at
Coffee Creek. That's,
Mhm.
yeah.
The women's
So-
prison.
It's,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's the, that's how we save tax money. So that, we're gonna get those people tidying up our paperwork
And I have no problem meeting with anybody, whenever. It's totally easy for me as long as I can get home for my kids.
Perfect.
I love you kids.
Coffee Creek is losing a lot of programs.
They do, they used to anyway.
Yeah, they used to have a lot of good programs, but
Make the rest of us look bad.
losing 3 programs. I don't know if this one is one of them, but I know one of them is their GED capacity, and their job bringing programs are going out the window. It's gonna hurt.
That new GED as of 2014 is pretty much done away with the GED program.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly.
We
It's
do
so
it in jail.
impossible.
We got 18 last year.
Yeah, but did you really? At the new
Yeah.
one?
We have, yeah, we switched to computer-based testing. I proctor it.
Oh,
I'm a
Really?
proctologist.
So that pre-calc is, hey.
Wow.
what an ass.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I'm impressed because I worked for adult ed and
You know the whole rest of the state, how many they got? All the other jails combined?
none.
2.
Wow.
We got 18.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
You become like a high school teacher.
Should be.
Well, we have an instructor. I just sit there and watch them take the class. Tell them if they pass. I love that job. Okay. Anyway.
So where are we
I
at on the
digress.
agenda?
So we're gonna go straight to the treasury report.
Well, it's the same as it was last month. We have
Okay.
$14.45 in the bank, right, as of right now, thanks to the PayPal transfer that I thought would have gone through, and it took them almost 2 weeks to transfer that after I clicked the buttons. It was awesome.
We had 2 transfers.
They combined it into one.
To one deposit?
Yes, to one deposit. That's why it took 2 weeks for them to quote process it.
Mhm.
So we have $14.45 right now.
So I'd like to remind anybody that has a good interaction with somebody, that if they'd like to donate, they can go to our website, click donate, the PayPal account will come up. And what I wanted to remind you is that we have a tip jar. We've got a bucket and a way that we can plug into money. So as much as I'd like to develop something called a formal remit, which is a donation
Mhm.
envelope, and even get it really cool where it's got the permit, so they don't even have to put a stamp on it. In the meantime, we're going punk rock and we're doing envelopes. So if somebody wants to make a contribution and they're in that tax bracket, this is something you can use for if you're sending out a solicitation. But bottom line, we've got a bucket that you can get to day or night. It's through our PayPal account on our website. Let's use it.
One thing I do want to say though is that our Facebook is linked to a donation thing as well. I managed.
That's right, you did set that up.
I did set that up so that if you go to our Facebook, there is off to the side a donate button that you can do, and that will put it into PayPal.
We haven't
Huh?
We haven't gotten any via that yet, though. I take it since we only have 14 on it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is even aware that we have that.
Yeah, we
But I took the time to set that up so that I figure everybody uses Facebook. I mean, really, who doesn't besides my husband because he's weird.
I don't.
We could put on there
You're not weird,
the,
though.
our new edition of our donate button has just been added,
Mm-hmm.
and put a little arrow that says, hey, look at everybody who gets our feeds. You can
Yeah.
donate.
Yeah, well, it's kind of off to the side. It's managed by a cutesy little company. I don't even remember what the company is. I think it is called Fundraiser with a ZR or something like that. That it's off to the more, but I kind of switch things around into Facebook so it's a physical.
I'm wondering, because we do, like my friend, her cat got sick.
Mhm.
And I posted on Facebook, hey, she needs $130. If she has this many friends that give $5 to $10 each, we'll have it raised. Within like 3 hours, we had the money raised for her, and her cat died. But we tried, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, just things like that where, it's $1 from 100 people is $100.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, who can't spare a dollar?
I think ours is minimum of like $3 donation on
$3, okay.
Facebook.
Well,
$3
I wanna-
is
So-
what's in my coffee.
Go ahead, Larry.
You have something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, so it's, from what Eric was saying, the next thing we need to pay is the $50 for the filing fee, the Secretary of State's office.
Yes.
And what's after that?
I'm gonna
What's coming
actually
up?
be kind of selfish. What I did when the fines came in from Department of Justice is I tapped my savings account. I drafted, a check for $120 and another one for $30.
$30?
Yes.
$30?
And so basically I fronted hay, $150 or something, so that when the directors, the executive committee could sign on the dotted line, then that, it could be paid and we didn't have to wait for the fundraising.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I'm soft selling the fundraising. And if hay can't cut it, my contract doesn't last a whole lot longer.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to just donate the money if the board can't
Well, we gotta
fundraise.
figure out a way to
So we,
raise that money.
bottom line, we need to figure out how to raise about $1,000 and we need to figure out how to do it quick. So the Secretary of State is $50 and I think we can cover that with the email I've already sent to Betty to ask for the office supply money, because I think that's just a customary business charge.
And then we will be having there's going to be one last for the insurance coming through. It's going to be less than $30 from what I remember. I had to front up $46 from my personal account to cover the boo-boo that I did by accident by paying it off late because we accrued that that interest. And so I fronted out the $46 to get as much paid as I could, but there's going to be a small one next month. So we are going to be having that, but it's a minor amount.
So what else? I mean, in general, you said $1,000. Just what are the high points of what's due in the next few
Okay,
minutes or so?
let's, well, actually, here's what I've got on the spreadsheet. I've got $3142.96, so $3,142.96 is upcoming, and for the following reasons. The 8/6/2015 is a renewal date for our insurance. We have 2 insurance policies, one for 1202 and one for 1565. Those are the last amounts, and they're likely to go up on the next renewal because of insurance. In the spreadsheet, which is my money, we have 2 fines, one for $100 and one for $20 with the Department of Justice. In addition to that, each renewal is an additional $10. So I think we're looking at a total of $140 there.
Each renewal of the SOS?
Excuse me, I misstated. Each CT12 form filing, which is the State of Oregon Charitable Activities Section.
CT12.
CT12 form.
Yeah.
That's
And
$10 a year.
that's in addition to the $50 Secretary of State fee?
Correct.
Okay.
Then sometime in this next budget year, we have 146 or thereabouts for our post office box, $15 for web domain registration, and then hosting is sky high at $44.97 a quarter.
Say that
That
again?
is expensive.
Yeah, it is. $44.97 per quarter for web hosting, and that one's due May 5th.
Who's our host?
Bluehost.
That is expensive.
It is, and that's why I asked for Anastasia and Jaime to get the tech guys, because I host a couple websites for free on Google. But I'm gonna circle back and state that what I did is, I'm not a web guy. I went in and I did surgery so that our website would live and set the expectation we as a group need to come together.
Yeah, I remember
but-
you doing that because I helped you out with it.
Right,
so.
you did some amazing graphics on it.
And I can do more if you want.
So it sounds like between now and August, we need
to
about
find a new web
$4,000
hoster.
Yeah, if not, well, I'd say we actually need to be thinking much larger. And I have some solutions for that, but what I'd like to do is have our illustrious president run the agenda, and I don't want to speak on that until it's my report. So where are we at on the agenda?
So I'm
If
gonna
you're
do one
coughing,
thing
use
on-
hand signals.
On the treasurer's report, an action item that Kim, Anastasia, and yourself get together to transition those signatures.
Yeah. And that's an
Okay.
easy thing to
So
do.
that'll be an
Yep.
action item, and I'll let Anastasia know when she gets back, but,
In fact, I have all of the files in my car. I want you to write
okay.
them.
Well, that's an action item that
Yeah.
need to get done in the transition of the treasurers.
Mhm.
And then now we go on to discussion of grant search engines.
Excellent, that's all. So last week about this time, I went to the Beaverton Library. The Washington County Cooperative Library Service has purchased a database that is for obtaining grants. So the Washington County Nonprofit Network and a couple other nonprofit bigwigs got together, came in, and basically, if you go to the library website, which is wccls.org, and you have a WCCLS library card, you can log in. Actually, I worked with Betty on this yesterday, I think. And you can log in and search for grants. Betty, I think, if I recall the conversation, found 181.
Well, my first look found 800, but it's not a great search process, but my last one found 181.
That are just generally could apply to head.
Possibly. It would take, and I'm going to commit to that in the next couple of weeks, to go through those 181 and say, discard the ones that aren't even relevant and
Okay.
to see what's left and try to get back with
Maybe
you
we
guys.
could use what happened on the DSC a little bit, depending on the format of the grant.
Yeah. With grants, you have to be matched with what the donors' desire are in their area. And some of these are, for Washington State. Some of these are, I tried to clarify the research, or the search down to be just for Oregon. Some of them are for Western Oregon. So there's a lot, there's everything in there, and there may be only 0 or 1 possibility in there.
Mhm.
And then they have cycles, due dates, and again, without sort of, what is hay, what's its long, short-term goals, all of that, which we could recycle from the grant, which I don't know how many people other than Eric or Jaime have seen the draft of it at that point. There needs to be some consensus on that. Otherwise, just have a bake sale or a car wash.
Right. Or a raffle. I really like that idea.
Raffles
Have we
are
ever
good.
tried reaching out to other local sports teams to see if they'd donate some tickets, like the Blazers or?
I guess the only ones that come out are the Timbers, the Winter Hawks, and is that it? Just them two? And of course the Hawks, and we're in contact with them, but the Blazers have one, and it's up to from $500 to $5,000. It's kind of complicated. I took a look at their website, but I don't mind applying for one. It specifically does mention activities that prevent or message the drug prevention, stuff like that.
Well, what I was wondering is about, just like you said, you could raffle off a pair of tickets.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be just asking them, hey, not for some, give us a couple of tickets so we could raffle.
Yeah, and so I do know the guy from the Winter Hawks, and I can ask him. I haven't seen him in a few months, but he's the son of a very good friend, and he's always offered us as an organization with another organization. If anybody wants, 4, 6, 8 tickets for the Winter Hawks, let me know.
Sounds like
I
maybe-
can circle around and see
Yeah,
what's going on.
that would be good. Maybe what we need is like a fundraising plan of some kind.
Well,
that
it'd be
kind
great
of-
if we had somebody on the board whose only focus
was
was to
fundraising,
fundraise.
yeah.
I think I waylaid your report.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, well,
I'm sorry.
that's perfectly fine. If I could suggest the following strategy. With Grand Select, what I wanted to do is hit rewind and have another try at what I tried to get done early, maybe a year and a half ago with Hay, which was showing you that grants can be successful. So it took me probably 5 minutes to write the grant for the laptops. It took me more time to spread the photos on Facebook of us getting the laptops than it took for me to write the grant. It took 10 times the amount of time to drive there and back
And
than
I
it
was
did
there
to
with
write
you.
the grant.
Remember?
And it was that easy. The Google grant, I'm blown away by the numbers, but I'm the guy that is, doing the ads. But that was a very easy grant to write as well. These grants should be far from intimidating. They're basically just answering questions, answer them in writing. And the other thing that I did is I brought John Valley to meet with us from Senator Merkley's office. And
Mhm.
that's another source of grant information.
Yep.
What we need to be looking for is a rare type of grant, and that's for what's called operational support. Most of the grants in Grant Select and in the world of grants are very conditional. They're gonna fund very specific things. For example, they'd only pay for the printing to get done. They wouldn't pay for the person to hand out the printing.
Gotcha.
So through networking with the other coalitions, most of you, do any of you know what I do when I meet with MAC or who MAC is? Anybody? Betty, you're excluded.
I don't know.
Metro area coalitions is where the county coalitions, like Multnomah and Clackamas, meet, and we meet pretty regularly. So
Oh.
it looks like you guys, that's part of what I do. So I picked up an operational grant that's administered down on the Southern Oregon coast that is, or a lead for one. So this is as part of stuff that we have to do. We have to be looking for new board members, we have to be looking for donors, and we have to be looking for grant opportunities. I'd like to soft sell this idea. I am immersed in nonprofits, whether it's the Historical Society, a law library, blah, 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 this organization. I'm trying to build a separate coalition of people that actually do grant writing, to peer review their stuff. So I'm soft selling the idea of someone who would like to learn grant writing. The only gatekeeping function is you actually have to try doing some work. And so if you're interested in learning, we're going to be sharing leads on where to find grants. And then cutting to the dirty little secret is once you get into the grant world, you basically start building a relationship with the people who are funding the grants. Once you get to that relationship point, then what I found the dirty little secret is that they either like you or they don't. And if they like you, then they issue custom grants that are basically gifts to you.
Mhm.
That's the dirty little secret. So what we have to do is be really nice to a few people. And so if you see strange people showing up at the table, you better be really nice to them, because if I brought them, they're there for a good reason. Jaime, it looks like you got
Yeah,
a
I have a
question
question.
for me.
How often does the MAC meet? Once a
About
month,
every
quarterly?
6 weeks, 8 weeks, kind of almost monthly,
More like
every other month.
every other month, kind of.
So
And about 20, 30 people show up?
it's about a table of this size, it's a group of this size. We have folks coming in from Estacada, Oregon City, Multnomah County is a coalition, and
Tiger.
Clackamas, Tiger Turns the Tides there, 12 Together's often there. So it's, we kind of trade stories, information, and, share tips. A lot of marijuana regulation discussion, and this is a place where I'm getting information that I often share via email to you guys. So just kind of want to make sure it's on your radar that this is part of what I'm doing behind the scenes.
So I want to make sure that we have about 20 minutes left. Any more discussions on the grant?
Well, I think we need to make an action item to come together with some sort of financial plan, and grant writing has been in the plan with the DFC. DFC is off the table until the next funding, or the next
Now, I
grant
have a
cycle.
question. With simple grant writing, the ones that any of us can do,
Mhm.
because I am not somebody who writes by trade, do we have any canned answers that we can be giving? And if we could get some sort of a decent list of canned answers for some of those tiny grants, like, $500 here or things like that.
Yes.
Because those would be so super helpful for, say, Anastasia, me, even Emily could just pop those out. And I mean, if we get them, awesome, that's $500. If not, it's okay, we can do it again.
Let me answer that. The answer is yes, and the answer is you don't even have to worry about it.
Okay?
First step is everybody at the table should log on to Grant Select, check it out. If you don't have a library card, get one and log in.
Okay.
And start exploring. Look for stuff and start reading grants.
Mhm.
Because you're gonna find there's about 15 different animals, different species of grant animals.
Yep.
You'll start figuring, oh, that's an elephant, that's a rhinoceros, that's a bee, don't want that one, that's a scorpion, get that one out of the way. This one's a cuddly little,
Bear.
but it's a baby bear, it's a koala bear, and it wants a hug, and we wanna pick those. And then
Exactly.
from there, what we'll do to bring you up to speed, we have historically our applications for drug-free community grants, which has
Okay.
got some of the canned answers that we could just cut, copy, paste. That's not really the relevant thing. The relevant thing is to read the grant,
Mhm.
read between the lines, figure out what they want, and give it to them.
Yeah. But like I said, since we don't have a clear objective, it's hard to magically come up with a lot of
The
those.
magic in that is because we don't have a clear objective, we can twist our objective to fit
This
the
is
grant.
true. This is very true.
So what you're gonna do is not worry about the worry, immerse yourself by reading a grant. I challenge anybody who wants to be in the Hay Coalition to read 3 grants between
Mhm.
now and the next meeting. Do I
Okay.
smell an action item? Yeah, I might be smelling an action item.
You do.
And it doesn't have to be, these are not difficult. It's like, it could be 3 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. Go to Grant Select,
Yeah.
type in drug prevention, find some grants,
So,
and then maybe email some suggestions back to the group.
so real quickly, an action item would be, over the next 30 days, go in and spend 30 minutes on this website,
Mhm.
the online resources Quest Select. I also, if you guys want, we can do for those members who are interested, and we can put this out to the public even, I can get us a room, I don't know if I can get us a room with a lab, it costs a bit more, but I can get one for as little as $15, and I'm sure they'll waive it because we're not in pocket. But I guess get us a classroom at Willow Creek on an evening or a Saturday,
Mhm.
and we can do a quick, 2-hour presentation on grants and do some actual work.
Couldn't we just bring our own laptops and?
Yeah, just
I mean,
bring your laptop,
most
they have
people have
Wi-Fi in there.
laptops.
And Betty made a similar suggestion,
Mhm.
bringing in a guest speaker or trainer to kind of help us through the process. And what I'd like to do is maybe have some targets some grants that we think that we might want to try, even if they're just small. Or we could go back to places we've already tried just to have some more home runs, like
Mhm.
Free Geek is like, we could use this, help us out with this. We need to identify what we want to be doing, and we can also do that, reverse engineer that by looking at grants, what's available, and it's like, well, there's a pot of money to do that, and we can do that, and it seems to help with drug and alcohol prevention,
Mhm.
sobriety and tobacco cessation,
Just out of curiosity,
Yes.
who is our insurance through?
The agent is in Forest Grove. The agent's name is FSC, or
What's
excuse me,
that?
WSC Insurance.
Do you know, but what's the name of the insurance or the underwriting company?
Let's see, Jaime, you have an envelope of one of them.
Sorry.
No, I'm trying to remember too.
I'm just thinking because my friend that still works at State Farm
Mhm.
said that many insurances have similar grant programs to State Farm. And that if we're a nonprofit and say our agent likes us or somebody in his office likes us, that would be a internal grant request, which are easier to get funded in
That's
their
true.
smaller amounts.
And yeah, because I got 500 for the Aloha Library from State Farm when I was working there, and I'm going to make an action item on my old State Farm agent that I kicked to the curb, and tell him that he should.
Anybody Republicans that want to contact the one I used to work for, because he'll give money if you're a Republican. I'm just saying, he's
Just
told me.
saying.
I don't see very many hands, what's wrong with this?
Not in this lifetime.
Kim,
That
back
did
to
not
your
mention it.
request about the canned answers.
Mhm.
I mean, if there does come a time where there's a soft, cuddly, adorable grant application to fill out, you can go back to the county application that was submitted.
Okay.
There should be a time where that work that was done for the DFC grant should be
And that's what I'm.
vetted by the group and said, even though it's a draft form, this is all correct, we believe this, we can use this for other things.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, it's all coming out of my head, basically, and so the group needs to say, this is okay, this is accurate, this is adequate, and we can use this for other
Mhm.
things.
And, they don't have to be like the same answer for every grant. That's not what I was looking for. I'm looking for like a base.
Yep.
A base answer that we can manipulate, twist,
That
mold to
includes-
whatever grant we're
It
writing,
includes the
but something that gives
objectives
us,
of the-
something that gives us something to go by.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
It does, and part of that is just, hey, history, and we need
Yeah.
to dig out, scan, post that as PDFs,
And that's
it's
the
just
stuff that we
reading.
need to find.
I've got it,
Okay.
Yeah, it's, and, the material that you sent it over to me has a lot of good stuff that we can just pick and choose.
yeah,
the
I have
wording
it
and stuff.
electronically too.
Yeah.
Are we gonna go and do poster contest and then action items?
Yep, we are.
Okay.
So, the next
Someday.
one would be poster contest.
Yeah,
Do we have one?
We have two
Two entries.
entries. So I
Like an
dropped
hour and a half
by
ago? Oh, yeah?
with the new version, right after we
From
changed, I
like
printed
an hour
out a
and a half ago,
whole
with that.
slew of the new papers for tonight's date. I dropped them off at Glencoe because I had to go get my son and he was not very good at school. Glencoe's right by my son's school, which is Patterson Elementary, which is actually
Yeah, like 10
pretty
minutes now. I got here.
pretty nice. But so I dropped off
Not
100
hard.
copies over at Glencoe, as well as I emailed.
Cool.
Gosh, who was it from Liberty? I don't even remember who it was from Liberty to. I emailed them the poster directly,
Nice.
the contest thing directly. So I hadn't heard anything from them. I definitely left our email on that saying, okay, any entries we have to, send them to me via email, as well as here's our actual address. So if anybody wanted to send like a physical poster, they could send a physical poster. But I have been checking the email every single day, and I have not seen anything,
Mhm.
nor have we gotten anything in the post office box. And
I
so,
can show you the other one.
I'm thinking, because I dropped off a bunch at Liberty and South Meadows and St. Matthews.
And-
St. Matthews was kind of weird, I'll just put it that way. It was just an odd situation dropping them off. Liberty was semi-hostile. I hate to say it that way, but it kind of was. And then South Meadows was like, "Oh, great, we'll stick them on my desk until we hear something from the district."
Yeah.
I think that the communication with the schools and the students,
This is
more
so
than
fun.
just saying, "Hey, we're going to put these in a circular thing in the hallway and have
Yeah.
kids
Well,
maybe look at them."
I had to send the district a formal request.
Mhm.
3 weeks before, I had to send them a formal request to actually get these able to be posted, because they came back saying, you know, okay, well, we need to go through the formalities, and I'm like, okay, here's all the formalities and everything else, and
My
so.
best friend made that one.
We did have a negative interaction with the
Well,
school district.
actually, they weren't as bad as you thought, because I circled back to them after they sent you that letter. I
Nice.
circled back and actually called them, and they were like, oh, okay, you know. And so they essentially, whatever negativity they gave you, they totally forgave me and they loved me about it. And so they approved it within 2 hours of me sending the new version.
In a nutshell, they felt, the way we worded the contact is we were obligating them to perpetuate a poster they hadn't approved yet.
Mhm.
And they wanted to just have clearance on the winning posters to make sure it didn't have,
Yeah.
smut or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just had to enter a little clause that said they're not the sponsors or anything, but I guess, me playing, dumb and innocent woman works wonders,
Okay.
works wonders at car places too. And so, like I said, we had a totally different interaction than you got through email, because I played dumb saying, oh, I didn't know, I'm so sorry. But
Where do we stand with this contest?
We need total of 10 entries, and Betty's gonna sneak
Bye,
out.
Betty.
Okay, Betty, thank you
Yeah.
for coming by.
So we've got two so far.
we got two so far, and it's supposed to be tonight.
How can we revamp it? Next week is I guess I call it spring break. Thank
Uh-huh.
you. I'm not looking forward to it.
I am.
But next week is spring break, and
Well, then, shouldn't we just kick it out another month?
it would have to be, because there's no way to get between now and Friday people word out on it.
Yeah,
But I
it's
know the
extended.
secretary at Liberty that kind of gave me a heartache over it, gives me heartache over everything that happens at Liberty. But she's the one who scanned it to the district office and said, hey, she's sitting here waiting, can I get a response? And it was quick, and I was like, woohoo. So maybe I can go in and plead. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think we should
Get on my
probably,
knees. I don't know.
honestly, we should kick it back, but we need to come up with a date that gives kids enough time to enter. We can't just kick it back a couple weeks or something, because that's not enough time for.
And right now they're doing that race paper, and the freshmen are, and that's like a 3-subject grade.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
I know a lot
and
of them have been-
we need to be careful about what testing is it that's coming up? The SBAC? We have to be very careful about the SBAC test. Do you know when that is, Emily? Oh,
There
sweet.
she goes.
We have to watch for that, because that SBAC test is like a statewide huge test.
Mhm.
Every kid's got to take it, and it's a nasty beast of a thing. So
I know
you
that
want-
I'm taking it like June. It's different for all the classes, because
Okay.
we have all of our AP testing coming up too. Like
Yeah.
there's like 9,000 tests, and then we're taking it like in here.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so
because I know
everyone's right now
that.
just freaking out about AP testing and SBAC tests.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I
like,
want
no
to
one
do
wants
it
to-
probably before SBAC tests.
So maybe
Um,
April.
So our next meeting
Yeah,
is April
well,
15th.
probably late April, very early May would probably be a good idea.
Because
I don't want to push it too
race
close
will be
to
done
then.
Friday.
I say
But that's been
April
a
15th.
bear of stuff going on.
Mhm.
Nothing going on.
I just want to be very sensitive to the students to do that, because I know it's, oh my
Push
gosh,
that.
it's super stressful. It's like taking the SATs
What
all
are we
over
giving as
again.
Yeah.
prizes for
Oh
this?
yeah,
I
plus we
forget.
have
Is it
SATs
money?
and ACTs.
Yeah.
You know,
We're overloaded.
Mm-hmm. I know.
I hinted, and I actually don't know, because I haven't been organized in a poster contest. I kind of hinted at gift cards, but I think we need
Yeah,
to.
no, there's some, is it headphones?
Wasn't it headphones?
I have the
Oh, that's
headphones
right,
still.
headphones.
I still
And
have the headphones They're actually in my car.
What kind of headphones are, you guys said
They're
that,
Soul Republic. I'll show you.
Are they like the
I
big
actually have to get out of
things?
here pretty soon too, but I can
Yeah.
show you really quickly, and then you need to pick up the dresses too. So
Then let's, why don't we settle on the 15th?
Yeah, the
And
15th.
you guys work offline and get together the details, holler if you need help to move things
If
along.
you can just change the date on the flyer, then resend
oh, that's
it.
an easy
Just
thing.
trying
But
to
one
think.
thing I do have to do is every time I change the date on the flyer or something, I have to run it back
Yeah.
by the administration, or else they won't approve it, and they'll
That's
come back to
fine.
me going, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that we're in compliance with
Is
that.
there a picture of the headphones on the flyer?
Yeah.
There's
That-
not a
There's-
picture of the headphones, but
On the
I-
left side of the flyer, or right side
on
of the
the
flyer.
yeah, I
It
stated
gives
what kind
detail
of
on what prices
yeah,
are.
I told them what kind
Okay.
of headphones they were.
Mhm.
Didn't I put the retail price? I think I did.
I think you did.
I think I did because one of the headphones there is like what 200
Yeah.
at
I
least
remember saying
$200 worth.
two-
one
so-
thing I've
210,
noticed with kids though is name
And
brand,
then
it's
60
not
and
price.
40 and,
Cause
Yeah.
I mean, you
True.
could get something, I mean,
True.
Beats by Dr. Dre or,
Well, these are Soul
Ridiculous, but-
Republics. These are nice headphones.
Yeah, they are.
I'll show them to you. They are really nice.
so as we close up, I wanna be, mindful of everybody's time.
Mhm.
The next meeting is gonna be April 15th, probably back at the Washington County Conference.
That's the plan.
Yeah, and I will make an email to Jennifer and
are
maybe
you
get
guys
the
interested in having
May.
one in South Meadows?
Yeah.
Well, let me see if we can talk to Martha about it, cause since she's so hey gung ho
Uh-huh.
and wants to be part of it, I, maybe asking her if we could have a meeting there.
Mhm.
Would
For-
give
for
her an
April?
give her an opportunity to
That would
attend
be a good idea.
and give us a little bit more of a presence at South
Yeah.
Meadows.
And
I mean, not South Meadows,
right?
Pointer, yeah.
Where's Pointer at exactly? 'Cause-
10th and Cornell.
Yeah.
I mean, 10th, Grant and
Just-
Cornell,
Okay.
right there.
And,
Okay.
back
Well, I'm
pages
just
are
corner.
for now.
thinking time wise is because my kids
No.
Wednesdays are early days for my kids to come.
You
home.
actually sit
Yeah, it's
better.
late start
You'll sit
for
very
us.
Oh,
good.
they're for mine too.
Huh?
It's very central to where you need to be.
I have
know.
somebody
Yeah.
home.
Well, right here is.
Yeah, we start
And
having
that-
that
no,
ideal.
but-
Still, I
yeah.
got it.
That's why like I ran from class to here because I was like, okay, I can make it because on Wednesdays class gets out at 11:55.
Can I get you to ask Martha, guys?
Sure.
Just CC me on it.
Sure.
So I'm gonna ask that the very last thing we do as we conclude the meeting at the trunk of my car so I can hand out prints.
Okay.
I have a box that I still want you to take to the jail. It's called Navigating the Teen Years. And so all those parents are going, what do they do?
I have a box,
I
a
know
big
you
box
see
in
them.
my garage
You do.
too.
I
Yeah.
have.
That I forgot I had there. My husband's like, what is this? And I'm
Yeah.
like,
I just have
Oh,
those two black
forgot I had
boxes
it.
that you dropped off. That's all I have, but I put them in my car in case anybody.
Two black
needs-
boxes of what?
The black boxes of files.
Okay, I thought you told me that those went to Jaime.
No, I gave Jaime the paperwork for the insurance.
Okay?
I give him that stack, but if you want those boxes, I got them. But
In
I
your,
got-
in your car right now?
Yeah, in my car right now. I mean, you know where I live, so
Yeah.
it's not like.
Okay.
Okay, so we have one last thing, those action items.
All right.
Cover them in 90 seconds.
Yep, go ahead.
Poster contest, we heard about them. Banking, that's, we're gonna transfer that, that's still, for you guys to handle together for the
We can easily
transfer.
do that.
And,
My email address.
don't worry about anything until I get you the meeting minutes.
Okay.
Bus
Alright.
benches,
I
this is this is proven to be a problem, very briefly. The company that Betty's assistant called gave me a quote a lot higher than what they quoted the county. So we need to understand that now, we'll be working on that. Board recruitment, that's kind of a job for everybody, but Jaime needs to be the president that kind of handles bringing people onto the board. So it's a presidential task. Any board leader, potential board members, send them to Jaime. 12 sector recruitment, I think we did a great job on. Emily, Twitter, did you get a couple posts out? Awesome. What can I do to convince you to get one tweet out a day for
do we
Hetty?
have Instagram?
I don't know what to tweet.
Huh?
I don't even know what to
Most
tweet on
people
my
are
own
giving
Twitter.
Okay.
I'm like,
You just have to do this.
Uh,
I'm like.
All you have to do is first just start tweeting hello,
people
but
are-
I'm
I
gonna,
think I,
Away
what did
from
I tweet the other
Facebook
day?
and
I said something about the
Instagram.
poster contest and I was like,
It's easier to navigate.
every
Maybe we should
day,
start
tweet the
on
poster
Instagram.
contest.
Maybe, yeah.
like,
you know?
Okay, and then I retweeted on mine so people will
Counting
see it.
down.
Yep.
Perfect.
There you go.
Yeah, countdown, awesome idea.
I'll do this right now.
Okay,
That's the one thing, a lot of people are getting away from Facebook and going solo to Instagram, so that might be something we
Yeah,
could too.
well,
Yeah.
Instagram, you can only
Instagrams
put so many
and
things on it really quickly.
It doesn't
and
have a
stuff.
memory like.
Yeah, it doesn't have the memory of Facebook.
I just
and that's
started it, I don't
You
know.
did, you reviewed the
Didn't know
board
you had
book.
to have your own
You,
pictures.
I'm checking board compliance, and we're waiting, this one's kind of a painful one. Darlene, we need to get her on KUIK, because we need to get a check mark on our 30-second spot to be aired as part of our current funding with the county. And they've dragged their feet, and I've followed up twice with Darlene, and I don't know what to do next. So those are the main action items from our last go-round. All
Is Andy still part of our coalition?
Cardinal?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because he's really good at that,
Yeah.
doing those spots. if
Well,
you'd
he
be willing.
cut the spot that we're using for KUIK, it's his voice.
So I wonder
Or
if
actually,
you-
it's his production.
If
had
he would
two.
be willing
Okay, tweet, done.
Okay.
Nice, do it tomorrow,
Let's,
and the next day.
Right.
So are we
Well,
gonna adjourn and go
they
to
did-
my,
they did.
my car for print?
You're at like 1:45.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So, but that's why.
Yeah,
I
I'm
tried to
calling
give
that an
myself
adjournment.
Well, that's the dream.
As a kid, it's
Thank you all for coming.